Hi there, I am the book lady, and I bring 2 books with me to read to you. And then we talk about them a little. You know, I think you're going to like these books. I found, you know, when I went to the library last week, I found so many good books, but I could only bring 2. So I'll bring the other ones to you, don't worry. But these, they're actually very different books, but they do have one thing in common. They talk about the moon. You know, the moon. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we see the whole moon, sometimes we see the little crescent of the moon, and it's the moon for the earth. And I brought this earth, and you will see why. But first, I'm going to read Leave Me Alone! It's by Vera Brosgol. This is a funny book, and I really know how this lady feels. She has lots of children, and she loves to knit. Look what I brought. I brought my knitting needles. I brought some balls of yarn. See, I brought this, the white one, and kind of a bluey purple one. And what do? We try to make sweaters or scarves or mittens. Well, let's read about this old woman. And this picture of her, look at her. She's cross. Once, there was an old woman. She lived in a small village in a small house with a very big family. See, I already can relate to her. I had 5 children, and that's a lot of children, and our house isn't a mansion, and sometimes I felt like it looked like that. Winter was coming. That meant she had some very important knitting to do, but it wasn't getting done. Her grandchildren were very curious about her knitting. Were you supposed to hit the ball with a stick? Could you eat it? Could you make your brother eat it? Why did the ball get smaller and smaller as you chased it? The old woman was at the end of her rope. So she made her bed as neatly as she could. She swept the floorboards until they more or less shone. She drank tea from her samovar. That's the big pot. And you turn the little thing and you get your tea. She packed up her things in a big sack, and she left. And as she left, she shouted back, "Leave me alone!" She just left. Boy, there were times I felt like doing that. The old woman walked through the deep, dark forest. She made a little fire so that she could see what she was doing. Then she sat down and began to knit. The bear family was very curious about the light from her fire and about what she might taste like. "Leave me alone!" the old woman shouted. But they didn't listen because bears don't speak English. So she picked up her sack and left. The old woman climbed up the mountainside. Now it was cold, so she found a small sheltered place. Then she sat down and began to knit. Well, the mountain goats were excited to have a visitor, especially one that brought snacks. You know about goats. They eat anything. Well, look at them. They're trying to eat. You know which one I like? I like that one who's standing on all those balls of yarn. Leave me alone, the old woman shouted. But the goats were too busy fighting over the red ones, which they all agreed were the best. So she picked up her sack and left. The old woman climbed higher and higher up the mountain. She reached the top and climbed onto the moon. Isn't that something? Oh, I just love that. Wouldn't that be fun to climb up and just walk onto the moon? She found a rock that was shaped like a chair. She sat down and she began to knit. Well, the little green moon men had never seen a woman before, old or otherwise. They examined her with handheld scanners that went beep boop, beep boop. Leave me alone, the old woman shouted. But the little green moon men couldn't hear her because they didn't have ears. So she picked up her sack and left through a wormhole. Ooh, the void on the other side of the wormhole was very dark and very, very quiet. She was absolutely, completely, utterly alone. It was perfect. And do you see that the writing is in white instead of black? If it was in black, we wouldn't be able to see it. Soon, she had no more yarn and 30 little sweaters. And she was alone. So she put the 30 sweaters into her big sack. She swept the void until it was nice matte black. She had a cup of tea from her samovar. Then she picked up the sack and left through another wormhole. When she came out the other side, everything was right where she'd left it. And she didn't say a word. Isn't that a happy story? And I'm just going to tell you, if you ever ask your mother, sometimes do you want to just be left alone? I bet she'll say yes. And sometimes I bet you just want to be alone. All right, let's put our knitting needles away and our yarn. We don't want goats to eat that. Woo! This is called The Girl Who Spoke to the Moon. And it is a story about friendship and loving our earth. Yeah. Now, many of us have only been to this part of the earth, maybe the United States. But the earth is very big, and there's lots of places you could live. You could live down here in South America. Oh, look, you could live in Africa. It's very big. There's Europe. Oh, Saudi Arabia. See, but it's all our earth. It's by Land Wilson. The Girl Who Spoke to the Moon. Sofia was a thoughtful girl who called the moon her giant pearl. As nights passed and the moon would grow, she marveled at its opal glow. If you've ever seen an opal is a precious stone. Some people will have an opal ring, or they might have an opal necklace, and it really looks like moonlight. One bright night, in a dreamy state, so she's dreaming, Sofia heard a sound quite late. She peeked around at all her toys and wondered which one made the noise. When a beam drew her gaze up high, she saw a face that winked its eye. "Hello down there," the moon sang out. "I hope to find you peeping out." "Hello, moon," she said with a smile. Then they laughed and talked for a while. From this night on, a friendship grew into a bond both strong and true. And you know, I love that picture. Look at her sitting there on the bridge. It just looks so peaceful. I like that. Sue Cornelson drew those pictures. When her friend was only half in view, Sofia asked, "Where's the rest of you?" If he was just a crescent moon, she knew that he might vanish soon. See, when she saw the moon and it looked like a crescent, that's what that shape is, she knew that in a few days that moon was going to be gone. But we also know moon always comes back. Then one time when the moon seemed blue, she noticed that his face was too. "Excuse me, moon, what bothers you? There must be something I can do." "You need to come and visit me, for there are some things you must see. Late tonight, when you're asleep, dream you'll take a giant leap." Well, she fell asleep, and in her mind, Sofia left the earth behind. She jumped. Looks like she's almost flying. Doesn't that look like fun? She's almost like she's on a slide of stars. And when she reached the moon in space, she saw a tear run down his face. "Now, my friend, that you are here, I'll show you what it is I fear. Take a look at Earth with me. Here, are the things that you must see. Your Mother Earth is where you live. She is my closest relative, and also home for nature's wonder. Now she's saddened by real plunder. With dirty waters, land, and air, it looks as though she's in despair. Her people seem so unaware that what Earth needs is better care. I see now why you feel so sad. Polluting Earth is very bad. I'm glad I came to see your view. Please tell me, Moon, what should we do? Good question. You all think of Earth each day and care for her in every way. All the little things you do add up and keep Earth well for you. Then work together and you'll see how wonderful a team can be when groups of people work as one. The most amazing things get done. Thank you, Moon, for the thoughts you share. It makes good sense. We need to care. I'll tell the world about this dream so we can be a better team. When Sofia woke up from her dream, her cares were different, so it seemed. She made a pledge of things to do, like passing on these words to you. Earth is the only home we know, where living things can breathe and grow. Let's work together with a plan and save our world while we still can. By far, the greatest gift of worth is our dear home, this planet Earth. And that's it. Did you like that book? And you know, in the back, they give some tips of ways that you might be very little, and you're thinking, what in the world can I do to make the Earth a little better, to help the Earth smile a little bigger? Well, I'll tell you something I did. I don't use paper napkins anymore, and I haven't for 14 years. I bought a big pile of cloth napkins. Now, some people might say, yes, but you have to wash them. I just throw them in when I'm doing laundry. And it's been a wonderful thing. I don't have to throw away all those napkins. So that's one thing. Another thing is try to walk where you're going instead of driving. Or maybe you could ride the bus, because see, the bus has lots of people on it. And if you counted all the people on the bus and that all of them driving a car, wow, you're saving a lot of cars from being on the road. But walking is even better. Do you walk to school? Can you walk to school? Do you walk to the park? Can you walk to the park? If you can, try it one day. See what it's like to walk. I've noticed that when you walk, you do notice a lot more than you would if you're just sitting in the car. Now, some of the ideas here say, and this, oh, my father used to really give it to us on this. When you leave a room, click, turn off the lights. When you leave a room, click, turn off the lights. When you leave a room, click, turn off the lights. Once you're no longer in the room, you don't need those lights running or burning, whichever way you want to call it. Just turn it off. That's easy. That's so easy. Then it says, make less trash. For instance, I'm using cloth napkins. Maybe instead of using a water bottle, you just fill up a glass with water because you're going to use that glass over and over and over again. These are little things that you can do. Oh, and it'll make the earth so happy. And then plant a tree or keep a garden. I have a little area in my yard. Well, it's bigger than that, and it's where I plant my vegetables, and I'll be planting them in the spring. And I was thinking about what I'm going to plant. I always have tomatoes because I like them. And I also like to put them away so I can eat them in the winter. Make spaghetti sauce or pizza sauce. And I might grow carrots this year. I'm not sure. I will definitely grow some peppers. Do you like peppers? I like them. So I like to grow them. And I can put those away and enjoy them in December. And I might grow some, cucumbers. Do you know what a cucumber is? Well, I'll tell you why I grow cucumbers. Because when I pick them, I take them inside and I make pickles. Do you like pickles? We love pickles. So I make lots of pickles. And my granddaughter comes over and she can eat 100 pickles. She really can't. She just loves them. I make dill pickles. They're sour. They're sour. And they're good. And they're also kind of salty. I don't make the sweet pickles because I don't care for them. So I make the ones I like, okay? But it's fun to plant a garden and watch it grow and go out and pick the stuff and then eat it. It's fun. You might try that. And you don't have to have you can actually grow a tomato in a flower pot. So if you live in an apartment, maybe in a big city, and you just don't have a yard, it's okay. These are just little ways that we can help our earth. So I hope you enjoyed that book, The Girl Who Spoke to the Moon. And another reason I liked this is this all happened in her dream. And I loved her dream. I mean, that picture, let's find it. Here it is, where she's jumped off the earth and she's sliding over to the moon. And why does she go to the moon? The moon wants her to get a good look at the earth. And the earth doesn't have a huge smile. No. He's Mother Earth, so she's kind of looking like that because she's not real happy with what's going on. Have you ever driven on a highway or a busy road, and you just see, it looks like people have just taken their whole, I don't know, a whole trash bag and thrown it out the window. And I would love to know why they think that's okay. Because it's not okay. It's just not okay. You save it in your car, you throw it away when you find a garbage can. How about that? That's easy. Doesn't cost any money. And then we had fun with leave me alone. Leave me alone. That's all that old woman wanted, was to be left alone so she could knit her 30 sweaters, because she knew winter was coming. And let me tell you, that first picture, it's hard to knit there. Yeah, it's hard to knit there. And you know, to knit 30 sweaters, she had to have lots of balls of yarn. A lot more than 2. That's all I brought. She needs like 100. And look what her grandchildren are doing. And she's just had it. So, oh man. Well, they said she hit the end of her rope. I think I would have said she hit the end of her yarn. And so she cleans up the house and she gets that big bag. Now see her sack down there? I think she must have put her samovar of tea into the sack. And she just gets out of there because she says, leave me alone. Oh. Do you have a little brother who just bothers you all the time? Do you have an older sister that she's driving you crazy? And you want to say, leave me alone. We've all been there, and we like to find our little happy place. That place where you can be alone and maybe just read a book. Maybe knit. Maybe you don't want to do anything. You just want to be quiet and think a little. That's what this old woman did. But she came back, and she came back with all her sweaters. I hope that you have enjoyed these 2 books. Do you see, at the library, you can get so many different kinds of books. I mean, they're very different. And I have a good time at the library. They know me there. And I hope I run into you there someday. And if I don't, go to the library, find some books. I'm going to go. I'm going to get 2 more books and bring them back to you, and we're going to have more fun reading books and talking about them. Remember, you can also find the Book Lady on YouTube. So if you want to just leave me alone, you can go with your little laptop and on YouTube type in The Book Lady. And I'll be there, and we'll be alone together. How about that? Until next time, I am the Book Lady. Bye-bye.